third lecture, I'm gonna talking about competition. Okay, the first category is perfect competition. First in the market are price takers. That means they can't decide uh what what price they should they should impose. They just price takers on both the output and input sides. Conditions for perfect competition are the four proposed properties of the assumption in the perfect competition. First is first sell identical products. The second is consumers know prices charged by all firms in market. Third is there are very low transaction costs in searching across possible purchase opportunities. Okay. Now we just want to short run profit maximization. In the short run, we assume no firm entry and or exit. So the first does output Q, quantity Q, to maximize the profit. We know the profit is the revenue minus costs. So where revenue is the total so this big R is the total revenue the first receives from selling outputs Q, and big C is the total cost. So the max profit equals to revenue minus costs. We differentiate respect to Q. Then we fall into the conclusion is that the marginal revenue should equals to marginal cost. Okay. So in perfect competition, marginal revenue MR equals the market price P. Therefore, firms produce until marginal revenue equals to marginal costs equals to P. The price equals to marginal cost is very important. It's like a feature of fully perfectly competition markets. In the short run, competitive firm faces a perfectly elastic demand curve, which is marginal revenue equals to P. Hence, for the perfectly competitive firm, a price equals to marginal cost. If your price is higher than marginal costs, you have no consumer because other firms can lower their can sell their products in marginal cost, which is more cheaper than you. So in the short run, there still have another character is shutdown points. Firms continue producing in the short run as long as it covers its variable costs. Firms shut down only if the price less than the the minimum of average variable costs. If your price is larger than average variable costs, then even in the long run, you can't take back take back those variable costs. So you should shut down and exit this market. What's the difference? What's the differences between short run and long run supply? A firm's short run supply is its marginal cost curve above the minimum average variable cost. If the yeah, if the price is lower than average variable costs, then you should shut down. That's called the shutdown point. A firm's long-run supply is its marginal cost curve above the average total cost. Because in the long run, all things are variable. You can optimize your capital, you can optimize your labor. So it's total cost, variable cost plus fixed cost. And if your c- um if your price is lower than the intersection of marginal cost and the average total cost, then you should exit the market because you spend more money than you received from selling items. That is not a reasonable decision if you still in this market. You actually lost just losing money. Okay. And the intersection of marginal cost and the average total cost point is where you can um is where the most efficient point because your cost is in the low and in the lowest point. Market supply is the horizontal sum of individual firms' supply curves. The market supply is horizontal, so and uh, uh, and the individual firm supply is also horizontal. Why? Because it's perfectly competition markets. The um the elasticity of items is perfectly elastic. So if you raise your price, then consumers can easily find a lot of substitution. They can uh, they can literally turn to another form to buy their items. Okay, so your revenue will be zero. Similarly, so your price should equals to all. So your form's price should equals to other form's price, which is the price equals to marginal cost. If the price is lower to marginal cost, then you basically losing money. You should exit this market. The short-run equilibrium happens at the intersection of market demand with market supply determines the equilibrium price. Each firm then produce where marginal cost equals to price. What is to know? Explain and know the condition when a firm will shut down in the short run and in the long run. Explain when firms will enter or exit the long run in the long run. Know why marginal revenue equals to marginal cost equals to price in the short run for a firm in a perfectly competitive market. Calculate marginal revenue and marginal cost given production function and the cost function. In a perfectly competitive market, given a short-run cost curve, find the short-run supply curve for a firm. In a perfectly competitive market, show graphically how aggregate market supply changes as there are more firms. In a perfectly competitive market in the short run, given cost curves for firms, demand and the number of firms, find the equilibrium price that each firms produce and the total quantity. The next part is competition. also is competition. What is long run competition? In the long run, there will be entry and exit in the perfect competition market until all firms make zero profit. Free entry exits with identical firms implies the long run supply curve equals to the minimum of long run average cost curve. Long run supply curve equals to the minimum of the long run average cost curve. So it should be horizontal aggregate market. Long run supply curve is only flat under very restrictive conditions. It is flat only when firms are identical and input prices constant. It is upward sloping if barriers to upward sloping um just like the supply curve we used to see. Okay, if barriers to entry exit, firms differ in efficiency. Input prices rise with industry expansion. So the long run supply curve is flatter than the short run supply curve due to the potential for entry and exit. Agent problem. Separation of owner and control. So efficiency matters in a firm, okay? But if the firm have agency problem, the the manager to pursue personal perks over cost minimization. That is, the manager will not the do the things truly matters to the firms, and that will cause problem. That means the efficiency streak decreases. So what should you know is know the condition for long run equilibrium. Show graphically that flat long run supply curve at minimum average total cost, and the long run supply is upward sloping if input prices rise or firms differ. Okay, so that is we talk about competition. Thank you for listening. The next part is welfare economics. Um, I will talk about that later.